What's up, everybody? It's Greg with Delta, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business with coaching on sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And we bring on guest speakers. Today, the man I have with me needs no introduction. I got with me Mr. Zach Allen. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Doing very well. Dude, I have been just laser focused on my nutrition and my workouts. So for those people, for everyone that doesn't know, this year I decided, I've been talked to a lot and people are always like, hey man, do you compete? Blah, blah, blah. Cause you know, my physique and how much I'm into fitness. And so this year I was like, you know what? I'm going to compete this year. And in order to force myself to compete, I found a coach that I know is a reputable coach for bodybuilding, for posing, bodybuilding, nutrition, the whole gamut. And I paid him up front for 6 months. And so last Monday, which was, today's the 23rd, we're recording.
Yep.
What was last Monday? Monday was the 15th is when I started my supplement plan and my meal plan. So since the 15th to today, for context sake, when I started on the 15th, I was 242.2 pounds. Okay. I weigh myself every morning. I doubled my calories.
Yeah.
I over doubled my calories. I was eating, prior to that, I was eating 2,100 calories a day and split between 2 to 3 meals. Most of it was like protein shakes. And I was just having like high protein, very, very low carbs. It was really just vegetables and then high fats. So, yeah. I was on a keto-ish diet, but not really keto because my protein was higher than my fats.
Yeah.
So I was at 242. Since then, now on a daily basis, I eat around 42 to 4,300 calories since the 15th, split between 6 meals. I've already ate 2 meals today. It's 9:50 right now that we're recording.
Right.
I already ate 2 meals. Dude, I've lost weight. I dropped from 242 down to about 238, and then I'm steadily kind of climbing back up. And right now I am 240 even.
Right. You're gonna look like fucking C-Bone by the end.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro. This is what it's taught me. This is what's taught me is that I didn't realize how much I was under eating and how important nutrition is. Like how significantly important nutrition is, because I have way more energy. I used to drink. You've stayed with me before, dude. I was drinking like, and this is a daily basis, like 3 to 4 12-ounce cups of coffee a day, easily.
Easy.
Like and then also energy drinks and pre-workout and shit like that. Like I had a lot of caffeine a day. I don't drink any energy drinks anymore. And I haven't had any caffeine since Monday in terms of coffee.
Interesting. That's one I can't break, man. I've tried. I've,
too full, bro. I'm too full, bro. I don't even want it. Like, I'm so full.
No, nutrition's a fickle bitch, man. Like it's mind blowing that for some people you need to eat more to actually lose, but the key is the right stuff.
It's the right stuff, yeah. So like, it's a very well balanced diet, dude. But I'm eating really. I don't feel like I'm eating. Like, I'm not eating chicken, rice, and broccoli.
Right.
Right.
You have a variety.
So I have a variety. So just to kind of like break it out real quick, and we're gonna get to the Medicare stuff. Don't you guys? We're just gonna kind of shoot the shit right now. So my first meal, so this is my schedule. I wake up. Like this morning, I actually woke up immediately. Like I woke up without an alarm at 3:30, and then I laid in bed till about 4:30 because I have to get 8 hours of sleep. But I fell asleep last night probably about 8 o'clock. I go to bed super early, man. I'm not a night owl anymore. So I was laid in bed about 4:30. I wake up and I drink a 30-ounce bottle of water that's got about 200 to 300 milligrams of Celtic salt in it, which is like the salt crystals are massive. They're like massive salt. It's like very, very high quality salt, right?
Is it like that Hawaiian salt? same concept, or
Kind of. It's a super
in a
high
way?
quality, which it's great. It's just a great electrolyte. It's great to have in your system. So I put that in all my bottles of water now. Is like it's literally about a quarter, between a quarter and a half of a teaspoon of Celtic salt. So I drink that. Then I make a 8 ounce or a 10 to 12 ounce glass of water, and I squeeze in iodine and echinacea, which is like a squirt, like a little dropper. And this is part of my supplement routine. So, and then I have like all these supplements in my, well, as soon as I wake up, maca, DIM, DHEA, boron, zinc, like all this. I just shove it in my mouth and drink this and chug this glass of echinacea and iodine water. Then I usually I'll read. I'll read for like 30 minutes, and I do a jaw exercise because my coach has actually shown me all those exercises that I can actually change the structure of my jaw.
Really?
You can do. So I'm doing all these jaw exercises and mouth exercises, which is helping to make my jaw more pronounced and to bring my lower jaw out some, right? So more pronounced. Then I eat my first meal usually at 6 a.m. And my first meal is 180 grams of ground bison, 275 grams of rice, jasmine rice, 10 grams of honey that I mix in with the rice and bison, and then 100 grams of blueberries. It's my first meal.
That's
I eat that. I take a pre-workout shake, and the pre-workout is beet powder. It's beet powder, EAAs, and my pre-workout that's got creatine in it. And then I take more vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin K, PQQ. I take a digestive enzyme. I take that in about 15 minutes after I eat, or actually by about 6:30, and I'm out the door 6:45 to go to the gym. Usually I start my workout by 7, do my workout, come back, take a cold shower, take my progress pictures, and then start making my meal, my second meal. That's my post-workout meal, which is ground turkey, 275 grams of white rice, and then honey again, but this time I eat 100 grams of pineapple.
Okay.
So those are my first 2 meals. My afternoon meals that are similar to that, instead of rice, it's potatoes. So roasted potatoes, I just roast them in an air fryer. And then instead of fruits, it's vegetables. It's any vegetable that I pick, really, but I usually mix it up between asparagus, green beans, broccoli, but 100 grams of those.
Yeah.
With the same amounts and I do chicken and bison in the afternoon. And then my last 2 meals, which I split, after my second meal, my third meal is actually not going to be those. It's going to be 6 eggs, 2 slices of Ezekiel bread, and 50 grams of blueberries. And then my last meal is like as a broth that I make, which is it's organic bone broth with organic celery, 100 grams of organic celery. It's like the last thing I basically kind of boil it, just drink it, and kind of drink the celery and like eat it. But I take so many supplements throughout. And here's what I learned is that, with all that combined, right, over the days, like it's like 4,300 calories. But I'm losing weight. I'm getting really shredded in my midsection. Like my abs are starting to come through. I'm shedding weight. I'm shedding fat.
Yeah.
I have more energy throughout the day than I've ever had, even without the caffeine and calories. And my endurance is increasing massively.
Really?
Yes. Like, so for instance, last Tuesday, I went on a 4-mile run. And during that form, I always time my runs, and I'm timing my splits for my miles. My average mile split was like a 9:30 to 9:45 per mile, every single mile for the 4 miles.
Right.
Yesterday, I did the same exact route, and I just felt good. I was like, man, this felt like really strong. My average split per mile was an entire minute and plus under.
Really?
Yeah. So like 8:20, 8:30. And so, and I felt good. Like I felt strong throughout. So I literally dropped for that 4 miles that it took me on last Tuesday, took me almost 39 minutes. It was like 39 minutes and some change. Yesterday, it was like 34 minutes and change. So I dropped 5 minutes almost, and the same exact route, same exact distance.
That's intense, man.
So
Me and running don't get along.
I mean, I don't really like running that often much either. I'm getting better at it. I'm kind of forcing myself to do it, but this is just like if you eat the right food, you can eat a lot. I'm full all the time. Like I don't even want to eat when I do, but I force myself to, and I don't have any cravings. Right? Like I feel like I'm eating good food. Like I'm cooking it unique. Like this week I took all the ground beef or the ground bison and the ground turkey, and I put it in my smoker.
Okay.
I smoked it with some hot sauce and stuff, and then I just kept chopping it up as it was cooking. I just put it in tins, and bro, it's so good. Like it's like really good, you know. So like there's unique ways that you can cook it, so it's not like you're just eating shit like dry. I'm not eating dry food. I'm not eating like dry meat or anything like that. Like it's really good.
And that's a good point, man. I mean, we should probably start on Medicare shortly, but learning to cook the right way is huge. And for
Mm.
me on YouTube, Will Tennyson, I don't know if you've ever watched him. Take the time to watch him, dude. He's hilarious. First of all, there's some funny jokes in there, but he talks about cooking, and he was a fat kid, and he's transformed his body, and he's a fitness influencer now. But he, throughout an array of his videos, he teaches you different ways to cook that are healthier. High protein, low carb, but you don't feel like you're sacrificing. It's not chicken and rice every day. It's learning the right way to feed your body, cut different things. So, very good YouTube channel. You should check it
I'll
out.
check him out. I'll check him out. I like learning all this stuff. Like that's how a lot of stuff I've learned from cooking is from just watching things. Also from like eating and just trying new stuff. Just being like, oh, I wonder what this would taste like, and just like just doing it.
Exactly.
But yeah, you can, if you flavor it the right way, you season it the right way, and cook it, you can have really delicious meals and eat healthy,
Mhm.
right? I went to Costco and got all my meat significantly cheaper, like in large packages, instead of going to like I went the week before. I went to Kroger, and it was like just for the week, it was like $230. I was like, damn, that's a lot just for me,
Yeah, I
right?
was gonna say just for you, that's a lot. I spend
Just
more
for
than
me.
that with my kids, but
And then I went to Costco this week, and it was significantly cheaper. It was
okay.
almost $100 cheaper, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I said, "I need to go start going to Costco to get my shit."
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We don't have one around here. I can't find bison around here. I tried. Back in my last house, we could get it, but around here, it's little podunk grocery stores. Lucky
It
to
tastes
find
like
chicken
beef.
sometimes. No, exactly, but it's higher protein. It's
It's
leaner.
just yeah, it's better. It's like a higher quality protein too,
Yeah.
because it's all organic
Yep.
and it's pasture raised. It's not like fed grains and stuff like that. It's raised off of grass. So
I'm about to just throw some out in my pasture and raise it myself.
yeah, there you go, dude, bro.
Just butcher one a year and call it done.
Yeah.
But I've been down that
So
road, man. Owning cows is not fun.
I
So,
bet, dude. Like, I actually, to be honest, I would not mind when like eventually getting to a point where I own enough land and then I'm completely self sufficient and off the grid.
yeah.
Like I have a well, everything's solar. I'm completely disconnected, and everything is self sustaining. Like I have a small garden. I raise all the chickens. I have chickens, cows, stuff like that, like all on my property. So if I wanted to like lock that shit down, I could, and I would
Yep.
never have to leave.
Yep. We're close to it, man. We're close. We got the chicken and the fence. Although I did get a quote for solar, it doesn't make any sense, bro. We use a lot of electricity. I got 4 kids, but it's $100,000 to replace my electric bill. And
Really?
yeah, just mathing it out, it's like, no, the ROA on it's stupid. It just doesn't make any sense. So,
Yeah.
but we use way more than the average people for electric. So, anyways,
Yeah.
what are we talking about today? That was a 15-minute rant.
Yeah, it was. Hope you guys like that. So, what do you take away from this? So watch what you eat. All right. Yeah, so, um, yeah. So we did a live. We've been talking a lot about Medicare, and our goal, like we said last week, is that we want to lay out the foundation of everything that we're doing, along the way kind of paint the journey so that anybody who watches this can also it's documented. You can follow along, you can do it yourself, and hopefully we're giving enough value and tips and guidance that you can also be successful in doing Medicare and building a Medicare agency, whatever it is that you want to do. And so when it comes to building a Medicare agency, we did a live about this a little bit, but I want to talk about it in a different context, a little bit different depth. Is the benefits of building a Medicare agency versus doing a life agency, right? Yep. And so we had 5 points, and we're going to discuss those now. And the first point is being able to sell your book of business for a higher multiple. Now, I want to jump in real quick before we get started on this. I think this is my opinion. Okay, take it for what it is. If you come into insurance wanting to build a business big enough so that you can sell and exit, you're and most there's a lot of people that do that, and I'm telling you, you have the wrong opinion about entrepreneurship. It is a lifelong journey. Like, I don't want to sell my book. I don't want to get to that point. And the only reason, why is it doing? What the fuck?
What just happened?
I went like this. Like,
oh, that was funny.
I don't want to sell my book. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if it did, the only reason I would is to do something like pull like an Elon Musk. Sell it in order to roll it into something else that I see like, hey, I want to get into a different industry and I want to make a bigger impact doing something else.
Yeah. For me, man, it's like cash flow is king, right? Yeah. And getting a $2 million payday, yeah, it's nice, but I would rather have the cash flow, just build your cash flow every single year, and keep it rolling. And at some point, you buy your time back with putting people in place. But the fact of the matter is life changes, right? God forbid something happens in your family, you have to cash out. Then the bottom line is on Medicare, your book of business is worth way more than the life side. If it comes to it and it's time to cash out. For me, I have no desire to sell until it's time for retirement. But again, we don't know what life is going to throw at us. That's the tricky part. So
with that being said, you can, if you want to come in and you say, you know what, I want to do it for 5 years and then exit and just take a payday and run to the hills and go hang out in Turks and Caicos for the rest of my life. That's cool. You can do that.
Yep.
And selling your book of business in Medicare is typically higher than selling in life insurance. And it's because of the residual nature of your book of business. Also, you can sell your book of business as an agent that's built, just an individual agent. You come in, you sell 120 to 200 policies a year. You do that for 3-4 years. You have enough of a renewal base that you can turn around and sell that for a couple multiples. And there's people that buy that shit all the time.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's another point. You can buy up books of businesses. If you got a couple $1 million sitting there and you're ready to just go buy up books of businesses,
there are agents that are looking to sell.
Yep. You can buy your way into it as well. So we didn't touch on that point last time.
We did not. Because Josh talked to me about that recently. He had just met agents that were kind of done, and they're like, "Hey, I got this many books, this many policies on my book. This is how much I make a month, blah blah blah." And they're looking to sell, and he was like, "Hey, I'll pay you this," and they're like, "Okay." and he bought it, and he just added it to his book. It's a simple form as far as I'm tracking. Like, it's pretty easy. They just sign it over, and all those policies now go to his book. Yep. And now he gets paid as if he wrote them.
Yep. So just like with anything else, though, it's a math problem to figure out, what makes it profitable to you. So when you're buying, but when you're selling, it's definitely a higher multiple.
Yeah. Now, if you're an agent, if you're listening to this and you're like, so I can do as an agent, so how many years and like how much your multiple's not going to be the same as if you're an agency owner. It's just not. Okay. But you could probably sell it for, I'd say, anywhere, depending upon the size of your book, right, for 2 to 3 times what your book is worth in a year, what a book pays off in a year, maybe up to 5 times, depending on if it's a larger book, right? Yep. So that is a potential possibility, right?
Yep.
Next, it's easier to duplicate yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
How like in life insurance, how difficult is it to duplicate yourself?
Dude, it's so bad because you and I personally have read hundreds of books on how, to interpret things and read body language and understand what people are really saying. And you're trying to sell this client a policy that's going to be a couple $100 a month. So you need to understand psychology behind it a lot more. That's really hard to teach. That comes from experience. That's, getting plenty of no's and whatnot. And it's just a completely different ballgame. Like, very rarely, I mean, out of a couple hundred agents, I mean, maybe it's me, man. I'm fully open to that. I was not able to duplicate myself too many times out of hundreds of agents with life insurance side.
Yeah.
Hey, like I said, I'm fully open to the idea it was me, and I suck at teaching on that. That's whatever. So be it. But on the Medicare side, man, you're not selling anything, right? These are mostly $0 plans to the client, and you're just sitting down and having a conversation and figuring out what their need is and filling it. It's not like you're trying to convince them to spend money. You don't need to read all the body language and all that. They're going to tell you. And I will say, to date, everybody that has gone in the field with me consistently writes business. My process is I will sit on Zoom with somebody, I'll show them the process, then I have them go find somebody they know that's on Medicare, play with their information, put in the systems, get to know it. I don't care if they sell the client. I want them just to get comfortable. From there, I take them in the field. They see me in action. But every single person that has taken the time to go in the field with me consistently sells policies. Yes. Do they sell a couple hundred a month all the time? No. Some of them are more than others, but they're consistently working, and that's way better than the life insurance side. And that goes back to everybody wants something different. They're happy with what they're doing, and I'm fine with that. That's what it comes down to. So it is way easier to duplicate what you're doing. There's no psychology involved.
When I was at Family First, when I first got there in end of 2018, and my first full year in 2019 is when I first started really building. The numbers that we were told was that if you recruited 100 agents, 10 of them would write.
Yep.
Okay. And that was kind of the moniker that the standard that I operated off of. That standard changed by the time like 2020, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. It was more like you recruited 100 agents and you might get 5 writers. And out of those 5 writers, one of the 5 was like kind of duplicatable. The other 5 were just writing
family policies.
Yeah. like anywhere between 5 and 8K a month.
Yeah.
Right. Like a policy a week. Right. And then there would be one that would stand out that would do the 10K a week or something like that, or be close to that, like 20K a month. But that's what the numbers turned into.
Let's tap on that a little bit. 100 agents, man. 100 agents.
Yeah.
Calling you consistently, asking for advice, asking how to do this. And 90% of them aren't going to do shit.
How long is it going to take before I get my license? Hey, I just got my license. What do I got to do for my contracting? Hey, how do I get my fingerprinting? Hey, how do I like, dude, have you read the fucking onboarding form?
Right. It's all lined out. They just wouldn't read it. But it's exhausting, dude. Like all the phone calls and everything. And again, don't take this, guys, as I don't want to help anybody. I love helping people. I absolutely do. But for me, it's a lot easier to duplicate in Medicare, and that help becomes a lot more profitable.
There's also a desire. There's a different outlook and desire on both sides. So when I was in life insurance, I felt I had to help everybody because I didn't know who the 5 or the 1 was.
Yeah.
So I wanted to build the team. Like I was like, I wanted to build as quick as I possibly could, because you got to build out like 100 agents, do a 10K average a month. And then I have my $1 million agency, right? And I'm sitting there like I'm helping every single person, because you never know who it could be. There's no rhyme or reason. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so you do get burnt out. Yep. Whereas with Medicare, if you're consistently selling, you don't need a lot of people on your team, because the difference in what you're getting for an override isn't like significant. It's just it stacks and it builds. Right. But your business also stacks and builds. And it's easier to show like, hey, this is how you do it. I'm doing it myself. It's really easy. Buy some leads, do this, blah, blah, blah. Or get leads from carriers, XYZ. And if someone doesn't move, oh well, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a Medicare agency of like 25 people that I built over a 5-year period that are just monsters like me.
Yep.
And that will take you to a 7-figure plus agency, by the way.
Yep.
Rather than building 100+ people, every single month that you're recruiting over and over and constantly trying to manage who's going to be good, who's not, who's wasting your time, and trying to read all these personalities. It's exhausting, man.
Yep. And then out of those 100, you're going to have 10 good ones. You're also going to have a batch that are scam artists, and you're going to get hurt. They don't talk about that either.
Yeah, so that's absolutely true.
You gotta watch your back.
You will get chargebacks. It will happen. It's not a matter of if or when. You will get chargebacks that roll up to you if you're in the life insurance game for long enough and you're building an agency.
Yep.
It will happen. Yep. It's part of the of the game. So next, leads are more plentiful and they're cheaper.
Yes, sir. I saw recently somebody posted a mortgage protection mailer now is up to $105 a piece. That's stupid. Absolutely stupid. But when you think about the demographic, who's buying houses right now? People that are 25 to 40, right? That generation doesn't fill out mail. I check my mailbox once a week. Like they just don't, so for you to fulfill an order of mortgage protection, you're going statewide, right? To get 10 leads a week, you have to mail the entire state, and then hopefully you get 10 back. And that's why they're so much more expensive at $105 a piece. But with Medicare, your demographic is over 65. These people love checking their mail. That's the highlight of their day. But when you get into,
and they're looking for deals all the time.
Exactly. They always want something. So when you get into these little city pockets, you have hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of people that are over 65 and fit those qualifications. They get mailed. A Medicare piece of mail is only $34 for a fresh piece of mail.
Yeah.
And again, just for purposes, I know you guys heard me say it a million times. When I go out in the field, I don't drive one time to my location because I live in the middle of nowhere. I drive 45 minutes to my area where I run. But once I'm there, every house is within 6 to 10 minutes of each other. It's just boom, 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 boom. So it's crazy close. The leads, they're easier to get, makes them cheaper. And I think this price is going to be sustainable for many years to come. I obviously mail prices increase, so it will increase a little bit over time, but it's not like it's going to jump from $34 to $100 overnight. That's many, many, many years down the road. But for now, man, they're much easier to obtain.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There's also a market, like the market, the economy factor that plays into this, right? So I was actually having a conversation with an agent, and they were like, "Well, if life insurance leads go up, doesn't it mean Medicare?" It's like, no, not exactly, because you have to understand there's several factors that are playing into the cost of mail. It's not just only the cost of the postage; it's the cost of like what's returning. So when you look at, say, mortgage protection, and that's the biggest. There's mortgage protection and there's final expense. Okay, for mail on life insurance side. I don't know what the final expense. Typically, final expense has always been cheaper. It's probably varies about the same, right?
Yeah,
because you're talking to the same demographic as Medicare. But for mortgage protection, that's what a lot of people want to do, because typically it's a more solid sale, right? It's something that is the sale's kind of baked into the piece of mail, and it makes it a more intentional conversation, right?
Yep.
You already know what you're protecting. It's already there. The why is already there. It's very easy to have that conversation. So when you increase the mortgage interest rates across the nation, people stop buying houses, stop doing refinances, stop doing HELOC loans.
Good point.
It reduces. So now you have a smaller pool of people to actually mail. Okay.
Yep.
And anyone's in the real estate business can tell you that business is going down. Now, there's some people are still crushing it. That's because they're going hard in the paint. They ain't letting off the gas.
Right. Right.
Okay. So now you have a smaller, reduced population. Okay. And the people that are in that population typically are going to be people that are younger, which answer mail less, like you said. Okay. Also, the people that are looking at the mail, I don't know about you, but when I go to a mailbox, I check my mail every day. But when I go to a mailbox, I'm like, don't know. I rip it in half. I throw it straight into the recycling box that's outside.
Yep.
I don't even bring it in. I was like, boom, boom, boom. I'm finding like what is mine that I know I need to open, and that's garbage. It's garbage. So they're doing that. But anyone that does look at it, they're probably like, do we need this? Nah, probably not. Like, not right now. Right.
Yep.
And they're putting it aside, they're forgetting about it. So that also reduces the amount of people that are going to be responding. So if the cost of the mail, in order to be competitive in the mail space, especially when it comes to mortgage protection, you have to have first class mail or overnight mail that goes to and back, right? So that increases the cost. So if your cost per 1,000 pieces is $670, let's say, instead of 350 for regular mail, now that's $670 instead of the average, which was 1% across the nation. And let's say that now drops to like 6%. That's where you get, there you are. That's where you get the difference and why it's increased, right? So at 1%, that means 10 for every 1,000 leads at 670. That's $67 per lead. That was about average.
Yep.
But now you have a reduced cost. So now if it's like, like a 0.5% or 0.6%, that's 6 for every 1,000. Now you take that 670, you divide it by 6, you're getting upwards to that $100 per lead, right?
Yep. Yep.
And that's the issue. Okay. And it's only going to get worse over time for a period of time, probably, right? I do think mail, I've been saying this for years. Mail's dying. It is on its way out, specifically for mortgage protection. I think Medicare's got a few more years than mortgage protection. I even think final expense does too. But like we get, at least that I know of, and I'm sure other groups do too, we get plentiful in terms of mail in large cities and large areas where we're targeting mortgage protection leads.
Yeah. Yep.
So
yeah, man, it's it all helps. The other thing is too, as far as circling back to the different duplications, back when you and I were going hard in life insurance during COVID, right?
Yeah.
That's, the people had COVID bucks coming in at that point, and they were scared to die because on the news, everybody was dying, right? So everybody wanted life insurance. It was a much easier sale.
Mm-hmm.
But now everybody's hurting with the inflation and everything. There's not as much money to spend. And let's face it, nobody's scared of COVID anymore. It's BS. So that kind of,
I want to do a quick numbers just to kind of paint the picture for everybody, so this can make a lot more sense. I'm pulling up my calculator. Okay, so let's say you do. This is back when I was doing life insurance in 2020, 2021 COVID timeframe, right? So if I got 10 leads, okay, that would cost me about $650. Okay. I would have to get about, if I wanted a full week's worth of work, okay, I was getting about 20 leads a week. Okay. So that's 650 times 2. We're looking at $1,300 every single week. Okay. Now those 20 leads that I called, I set appointments with 18 of them. Okay. I knew my numbers. I would set appointments with 18. Out of 18, I'm sitting with 15. And out of 15 that I sit with, I'm selling an average of 12 policies. Okay. The average 12 homes. Okay. So 12 out of 20. The average home that I sat in, that I sold, was about 2,000 AP. Some AP was low, some AP was higher, but the average was 2,000. Okay. So 2,000, you multiply that by 12, that's 2,400. Okay. So I'm spending 13 $100 a mail for very high intentional mail, and I'm getting about 2,400. Now there are weeks when I would get about 20,000 instead, and there are weeks when I would get more than 2,400. It just depended.
You mean 24,000, right?
24,000. Yeah, 24,000. Sorry. So 20,000. Some weeks I get lower, like 20,000. But that was my average.
Right.
Okay, that was my average. This makes sense.
Yep.
For life insurance. Now, I'm also not factoring in how many people canceled, right? Because I had about a 15% fall off rate. So when you take 15% off of 24,000, now that's $3,600 that's coming off. So basically, I'm sitting with 20,000. Okay, so 20,000 minus the 1,300 for the leads. Plus I get paid, you don't get paid all that up front because there's your advance, whatever. I was sitting at about 15,000 a week that was getting deposited after everything was said and done. Okay. Which is normal. That's if you're performing high in mortgage section, that's actually pretty average. Okay. If you're consistent buying leads, setting appointments, doing all the things. Now, if you're to buy the same amount of leads now, even at $100 a lead, okay, your leads cost $2,000. Okay. However, I know everyone's ratios have dropped because of the economy and what's going on with inflation. So even if I took the numbers down by 10%, okay, so instead of sitting with 18, okay, instead of taking about 10%, you're really setting with 16 instead of 18. Okay. And then instead of sitting with 15, I'm really sitting with 13. Instead of selling 12, I'm really selling about 10. Okay. Now 20,000 and you have an increase, you're probably losing about 20% of your
people losing their jobs and a lot more
people lose their jobs, people like all kinds of shit's happening, right? So now you're sitting at about 16,000, 14,000. So, and this is if you're a high performer, right? Some people are like, I'm not making that. Yeah, probably because you're not going hard in the paint, bro. So after chargebacks, after all that, you're really looking at like 12,000 in that week. When just rewind the clock back, you would have made significantly more. You'd have made 15, 16, 17,000.
But wait, all of a sudden you get hit with 24 grand a roll up and you're working the next 2 weeks for free.
Yeah. Now your agents below you are also having a tough time and they're going around selling their family because they ain't following the system. Guess what? You just got $20,000 roll up charges and you're like, fuck.
Yep. Time to get to work. You're still buying leads every single week, that $2,000 a week, and you're working for free.
Yeah.
Because you're paying off that shit so that you can actually have income.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't work anymore.
It's a significantly harder. And so there's people that are out there that I know. I've talked to people that are still at Family First. And they're like, yeah, all the leaderboards say that I'm issue paying XYZ, but what I'm actually depositing is nowhere near it. At the end of the month, I'm actually struggling.
We are going way off here, but there's somebody else out there that was claiming $200,000 in a month, right? And God dang it, if you're making 200 grand in a month, you're not getting distracted with other things. You're going to stay on the gas, right?
Yes.
But after you're bragging about that, all of a sudden you're out here hustling handbags and other random BS on your Instagram versus.
Are you talking about Jana? What's her name?
Maybe. But it's like, it just doesn't make sense. If you're making 200K a month.
She didn't make no 200K a month, bro.
But the leaderboard.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
The leaderboards say so. But it's like, yeah, that's all bullshit. It's not really happening.
It's not.
So, and if you're running 200K, you don't have time to be posting other bullshit.
And here's the thing: is it's like, go check the bank accounts, man. Like if somebody's saying this and you're just like, no, they're saying this, go look at the bank accounts. It's that simple.
Yep.
Right. the truth will set you free. You know what I'm saying? But that's the reality of life insurance and what's going on right now. I'm not saying that there aren't people that are having success, because there are.
Absolutely.
I'm saying there's less success that's being had.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying. So next point, we've already kind of hit on this. You're more likely to work with agents. You only have to work with agents that you want to work with. And that's due to not needing a million different people. We already kind of hit on this. But this is still a good separate point to talk about, of like, you don't need to recruit the world. I was talking actually to an agent yesterday, fucking Jeff Davis, bro. He was like, yeah, because we recruit agents. And here's the thing is my thing is that part of the benefit of working with Zach and I is that we'll help to make you managers. So we can go out and do recruiting on top of our selling, because we can handle a wider berth. Him and I working together, combining our efforts and our powers, right? And in return, people that help us, we can lift up to become managers, and we'll give you agents, right? We'll recruit for you. And if you want to recruit for yourself, that's fine too, right? And he's like, can you get me a couple agents a week? I was like, a couple a week? What? I was like, dude, this isn't life insurance. If you got one a month that was solid, you would be awesome at the end of the year.
Yep.
What you're trying to do, I was like, you don't understand it, bro. You're not trying to recruit the fucking world.
Yep.
You're trying to recruit the right people that you operate well with, that are going to get to work, that are going to sell policies, that they're going to follow a system. And if they're not, don't spend time with them. Fucking be like, dude, I like, here, you can do this stuff. And if you want to do it, awesome. I'm here to help. But like, you can go on about your business because you're making enough money on your sales. You don't have to worry about that shit.
Yep. You don't have to play those games.
And so that just him saying like, will I be able to get a few recruits a week from you? What? A few a week? Like, bro, I'm gonna get a few a month.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: if someone comes out to us, we're not being like, "Oh, you're hired. Here you go." Like, we're actually taking your time.
Correct. And so, that's what I was going to touch on. Could we ramp it up to where we have a few a week? Absolutely. We could do paid advertising, all that crap. We could do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that, because then you have a bunch of people waiting for your time. I can't get in the field. I can't do anything because I'm helping so many people, and we're looking to avoid that at this point. But the people that are willing to work and are coachable, they get our undivided attention, and they do well. Yeah. So that just means recruiting the right people. That's all it is.
It is exactly what it means. Last but not least, this is my favorite. Roll-up debt doesn't exist.
Nope.
Roll-up debt doesn't exist. If you bring on an agent, here's the coolest thing about Medicare. Let's say that you say, you know what, I want to do Medicare. So you come over and you are in life insurance and you got a team of agents and you're like, I want to bring all these agents over. And they come over and they're writing a shit ton of business. And you're like, yeah, this is awesome. And let's say one of them is writing bad business because they're like putting people on their policies that they didn't ask for. They get a couple of complaints, a lot of complaints, and then they lose their contracts through Medicare contracts, right? So this is what they can do. They can literally sign over all their book of business from that carrier they're about to lose. Anyone that's still on the books, they can sign it over to you as the upline. And that's not your book of business.
Right.
So everything gets switched over to you, right? All the chargebacks stay at that agent level. If they don't pay them, the carrier eats them. Carrier just wipes the debt.
Yep. Now, again, I don't want to give false hope. There are chargebacks, right?
There are chargebacks. You're individual. So
your override chargeback.
Yeah. So like if someone wrote 10 policies and you're the next level up, that's $50 per policy average for a carrier. That means you made $500. If all 10 of those charge back, you get charged back $500.
Right.
Okay. Because of the override. But if they don't pay that charge back of those 10 policies, they made like 6,000 or whatever ish between all those policies and HRAs and everything. Well, then guess what? That 6,000 gets wiped.
Yeah. It's not coming to you.
It's not coming. It's not rolling up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's game changing, man, because I know you mentioned it in the last episode. You had 100K of roll up. I've had probably 40.
I've had way over 100K roll. I've had a lot, bro. I've had a lot.
And that's what takes people out of the business. You know, in
Yeah.
life insurance, your goal is to build deep to insulate yourself from these chargebacks. So somebody down here charges back, you have time before it hits you. Medicare, you build wide because you're a lot safer.
Yeah.
You know, there's not that many levels in Medicare, so you really can't build deep. But it protects you from that, and it's a good feeling. It's an absolute good
I will
feeling.
also answer a question I got yesterday, and someone was like, "Well, because there's not that many levels," and she just brought that up. And he was like, "Well, what if I recruit somebody and they want to build?" And here's the reality: is that everyone wants to build. Fucking 2% of them will actually do the work to do it. Let's be real.
Yep.
They're just not going to do the work.
Yep. Get distracted with everything else.
They get distracted. They can't even do sales their own. People that want to come in Medicare, and like, you can come in and you can buy a big book of business and then just start hiring people and basically like giving out contracts. You can do that, right? I want to say that's how what's his face? That was Tyler Reese was in IFG. That's how he started. He bought a business. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say, I'm not sure, but I heard it through the very grapevine that he like had bought a huge book of business because he already had money coming into the insurance industry. So he bought it, and that's how he built out IFG.
Got it.
So you can do that, right? But if you're just coming in and you're thinking that this is a get rich quick scheme, and you're going to build this massive agency in 1 year, and you're going to have all these, dude, it's just not going to happen.
Nope.
Like, this is a long game. This is like, hey, in the next 5, 10, 15 years, you're going to have on just $1 million coming in every single year, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, and you'll be able to stack and grow, right? But it takes time to get there. And here's the thing, you can do it as an individual agent. And that's the great thing, is that the people that aren't going to build, they say they want to build, but they're not willing to do the extra work or invest in the business or work the extra hours or take phone calls late at night or do with all the extra shit that unbalances their life. That's fine, because they could still work a 9 to fucking 5 Monday through Friday and sell 10 policies a week easily. Yep. And if you did that consistently for the next fucking the next 3 years, bro, you have a good check that's coming in.
Yep.
You have a really, really nice check that's coming in every single month.
Yeah. It's a consistency game, you know. Yeah. Another point we should touch on is with Medicare, you know, yes, Greg and I talk a lot about buying leads because that's what we do. But there are so many other ways to do Medicare by partnering with different healthcare facilities. We have contracts with a big retailer where you go in there and you sit there during AEP and take clients coming to you. Now, don't get me wrong, those aren't a couple $100 or a couple hundred applications a year type gigs, but you're not spending any money. You're just going out and networking and doing this. I mean, I know off the top of my head 10 people that wrote 80 to 100 policies during AEP without zero lead spend.
Yeah.
Zero. Just networking and partnering with different facilities. We have a guy that volunteers at a soup kitchen. He does really well. He helps all them out. You know, Jennifer Moore in West PA, she's partnered with the Veterans VFW, and she's doing well there. There's plenty of options. It's just Greg and I talk a lot about leads because that's what we
know, because coming from life insurance. But
right.
That is true. In the Medicare space, there's many, many, many ways that you can skin this cat in terms of getting business. And here's the thing, is that like the reason we talked about, we've mentioned before co-oping, which basically is like the people above us, you know, because that's why we partner with the people we partnered with, because they will co-op for anyone underneath them that buys leads. Typically it's 50%. Sometimes it could be more, right? Depending upon the area, how much leads are plentiful, how much business you're doing, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of factors there, but basically co-op $50 or 50% off of whatever the cost of leads. So if you're buying mail through them, $34, it means you're really spending $17 because you're getting it half off just by being part of our organization, right? Yep. So the reason they can do that is because the carriers, when you start to produce a lot of money, they give you marketing dollars in order to buy leads to put more business through them. So, like I mentioned before, Humana gave me $1,500 in order to buy more leads, right? And then I wrote some more business through Humana. And as long as you're consistent, they'll keep doing that. They'll keep giving you money, right? And then when you have a team of people that are doing it, they'll start giving you money. And what you do, if you're smart and you want to help your team, you take those marketing dollars, you don't spend it on yourself, you don't go blow it in Vegas, you don't go on a trip, you don't be like, well, this is my money. You take it, you reinvest it back in the business by buying a bunch of leads and giving it out to your people.
Yep.
So you get free leads all the time, as long as you're doing business, right? We get free leads that are sent to us, and then we distribute them down to the agents, because they've gotten marketing dollars that they allocated towards leads, buying leads, setting up agents for success. And that helps everybody in the agency, because you have to be writing business. Why? Well, because the more business we write, the more marketing dollars we get.
Right. So if you come in and you take marketing dollars and you don't write business, you're not going to get it anymore.
Yeah.
It does go to the performers. I mean, you got to think of it as a business decision too.
Yeah.
So, call it what you want, but it's strict business decision. So
absolutely. So, well, thank you so much, Zach, for coming on. This went a little longer than I thought, but this is a good conversation.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, yeah. So, Zach, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, you put what's the best way to reach you?
Shoot me a text message and we can schedule a call. My phone number is 609-610-6484. I've already actually had a whole bunch of people reach out to me from throwing my number up here, so it's always good. But
that's good.
That's the best way to reach me.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to reach me, you know how to get in touch with me. Just send me a message on Facebook or on Instagram. And I'm very responsive on there. Even if you just want a little bit of help. I had some people reach out just asking me questions. Like, what do you think I should do? And I'll get, hey, this is what I think. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know. And I'm fine with saying that. Because like someone was in the health insurance under 65. I was like, I have no idea. Because I've never operated in that space. I don't know what lead vendors sell those leads. I have no idea.
Yeah. Don't even know where to start.
I can't. So but yeah, always reach out. We're always happy to help. This has been the Be the Difference podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. Until next time, we'll see you. Deuces. Oh, by the way, I just effed that up. Hey, if you got any value from this, fucking share the show, man. Hey, shares with somebody else that's in insurance that can also get value from it. That can learn a little bit. That's maybe they're interested in switching over to Medicare, right? But it takes you 30 to 60 seconds to share this content with somebody else that might get value from it. And it means the world to both Zach and I that you do so, because it helps spread the message that more agents can use in order to find success in the industry. Now, this has been the Be the Difference podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. Until next time, we'll see you. Deuces.